AskReddit by GrimGrim420. What is the worst feeling ever? Being stuck in life. There is no forward progress, and there is no going back. You are just where you are. This is exactly what I'm going through. They say it gets better, but for me each year's only gotten worse. And then over time I'll just age and my parents will die. Life is crushing and just feels like a chore, like I'm just waiting to hurry up and die already. Kidney stones. Worst physical sensation I've ever had is that feeling of wrongness in the whole pit around my stomach when they moved. Everything between my hips and diaphragm, but only inside me, felt like all of it was wrong. It was worse than the actual pain somehow. The feeling of total helplessness while watching a loved one die. I felt this in the pit of my stomach. For the last 2 years of her life I had to watch helplessly as my wife faded. It came to the end when she was in the ICU in a coma. There was no chance of any quality of life and I had to make the dreaded decision to take her off of life support. It was the worst day of my life, losing my best friend, soulmate, and my wife all at once. The only comfort I get out of it is knowing she's not in pain anymore and that she is with her brother again. Edit. Thank you to everyone for their condolences. If I could give a word of advice it would be to never take what you have for granted. It can be taken away at any time, whether you're ready or not. When someone betray your trust when you needed them the most. Came here to say this: divorce. When the person you love the most does something so awful that it completely destroys the love you share. That feeling that you get right after losing a pet that you love so dearly. It's such a hopeless feeling. Like you're reaching out and crying for someone who just minutes before was there. That's the worst feeling ever. I just lost my dog this afternoon to liver cancer. Fucking sucks. Miss him so much. Edit. Thank you to all who have commented. I see you, and I share this pain with you. May the memory of your pet, be a blessing in times of sorrow. Hugs to you all. My pets are my life and it seems that they're like that to you all as well. Keep your heads up and remember the good times. That gut-wrenching feeling you get when you realize you fucked up something very badly and you can't fix it anymore. And then you have to tell someone about the fuck up because it directly or indirectly involves them. When a loved one passes, knowing you'll never physically see or hear them again. Oh god, the pain of waking up from a dream about them and having to remember they're dead all over again. It renews that feeling. Doom. That diagnosis. That moment when failure is inevitable. The impending breakup. My dad was in a coma for a little over a week before we lost him, and we knew we would be losing him. That's doom and it's the prelude to grief. I hope none of you experience doom. It's like having all of your agency for change stripped away. It's a true sense of powerlessness, and it's traumatizing. That moment when I asked the hospice nurse if this was really real and my mom was actually about to die and she said I'm sorry, yes. Anhedonia. When doing something you used to enjoy no longer invokes the feelings they once did. Everything I used to enjoy no longer does anything for me. And X200B. You could chalk this up to depression, but this is a specific feeling that makes me feel empty inside because everything that used to make me smile feels like a chore now. I have ADHD, so I go through this fairly regularly. It's a cycle of hyperfixation, holding on as long as possible, then trying to convince myself I still enjoy doing something until I just can't anymore. Eventually I have to just accept I won't enjoy that thing again even if I've spent the past months obsessing over it. But eventually a new fixation develops to take its place and the cycle continues. Missing a long-term partner and knowing they don't feel the same way : yeah, that's kinda what I was thinking. Loving someone who no longer loves you back is so hard. Realizing you just sent an email, company-wide, and not only to the original sender. Sent it to packaging at Hub. Not being able to breathe. I recently had an 8-hour asthma attack and it was terrifying. Was just gonna say, anaphylaxis for the first time. Deleted. Where was I already? Oh yeah, that's right. Fuck me, I guess. When I was at work and my wife called to tell me they lost my son and called 911. I work 90 minutes away from. My son is fine and safe. He was hiding in the house, but I've never felt so bad in my life. Phrasing bro. I thought your son died. As a father of a 2-year-old, this is my biggest fear. Them being lost would be horrible too. Acknowledging the death of your most loved one. Making your brain understand that they just don't exist anymore, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to change that. Oof, this one. My best friend of 20 years died. I still have to remind myself all the time that she is no longer just a text away from me. That I can no longer share our memories with her because she is a memory. That shit fucks with me every time. Being cheated on in a serious relationship. It's so much more than betrayal. It cuts you deep and has you wondering what's wrong with you. And then every relationship you ever have after is different because you've been changed and trusting is never the same. Yep. Completely changed me. Trust issues I never had before. The regret you feel 1 second after saying something really hurtful to someone. Once someone explained their joke to me because I didn't laugh and I told them I got it just wasn't funny and immediately felt like an absolute dick. Unexpected phone call at 1 AM and the grief of losing a child. My deepest and most unrelenting fear. Abandonment. Feels like fire in your soul. As person who's experienced neglect and abuse, I'd take physical verbal abuse any day over neglect abandonment. At least you can fight abuse, or feel adrenaline fueled rage to keep you going. Betrayal. Especially at the hands of what you thought was only a fart. Someone not loving you back the way you did. My partner was growing more distant over a few months. One day I was looking at couples activities in my city because I wanted to get back to a good spot so I could propose. While I was looking, she came to the room and asked if she could talk to me, and broke up with me. When you wake up and your dog died while you were sleeping. I'm so sorry for your loss. But if the dog didn't wake you up, that means it had the rare pleasure of going peacefully. I'd actually have been quite happy for my dog to go quietly in bed. Loving someone who doesn't love you back. Add to this, someone who does love you back but they have to move to the other side of the world to care for family and you can't follow because you two must stay here and care for family. That crushed me for a decade. We finally met again and have both since married and had kids and found happiness, but we had to cut the meeting short and we both left after the what could have been talk destroyed us both for the night. Mutual friends event in Tokyo. My wife was there too. No sneaking around. She knows the whole story and was very supportive of the emotional toll it took on me to have to see her. I hope her husband is as kind as my wife is to me. Fuck, I really didn't need to relive that tonight. When you realize the relationship is over and you can't take it anymore. But ending things seems impossible when you've been together for so long and had so many memories. I'm going through this right now and it is making me ill every day. It is even worse because sometimes things are amazing between us because we keep putting off what we should do, even though we just should do it. Being suicidal. Especially when you know you don't want to die. I always tell people I don't want to die. But I know myself and I don't have control when I'm suicidal. It's like something else takes over and I get tunnel vision that focuses on death being the only answer. Edit. It seems like people are taking this like I'm currently about to commit toaster bath at any moment, and I don't want people worrying. So let me tell y'all that my mental health is actually in the best shape it's been in years. Just because I spoke about it does not mean I'm at risk right now, and I'd like to encourage people to not assign that to anyone with mental health who speaks openly about it. Sharing experiences helps erase the stigma. I do have 3 failed attempts under my belt, but the last attempt was when I was 17. I am 26 now. My life is the best it's ever been. Please don't worry for me. It has been 21 years of therapy, coping skills, DBT, etc. I am okay lol. Please don't worry. When you are eating and you suddenly hear a crack and realize you just broke your tooth. To add on, when you are eating a soft food and you feel a crunch. Cluster headaches. I hate them. I remember my first batch. I wanted to scoop out my eye and smash that part of my head in with a hammer 0/10. Deleted. This was the first thing I thought of. It's the loss of control that does it for me. Being forced to give over to your body's natural reflexes and hoping it knows what it's doing. The realization that no one actually cares about you. Actions speak louder than words. When everyone's actions are screaming we don't care at you, it's really hard. Especially when it's people that you thought would always have your back, no matter what. And random people tell you there are people that care about you, but that's just not reality for many people, so saying that actually makes you feel even worse. When you get rejected from a job that would flip your life around in every aspect. God, that was me earlier this year. It would have been absolutely perfect for me, not just the benefits, but the pay raise meant I'd be able to finally afford my own small apartment. I'd be able to save. Afford a car. Just that one position could have turned my entire life around. And it wasn't even a crapshoot. I was more than qualified for this position and I'd worked in that department before. Then came the email. The manager who was hiring for that position had started setting appointments in his office calendar. I actually had to go home early that day after bawling in the bathroom. I didn't even get an interview.